So I want to share something that's been on my mind, and something that God's been putting in my heart to share as I pray for the youth of this generation. It's as if I could feel the pain that God is feeling when He looks down upon the earth and He sees so many of His children, just so many of His people, of His creation, just separating themselves from Him. There were people that were once so in love with God that as soon as they woke up in the morning, their first thought was God. There are people that were so in love with God that they couldn't wait to be used by God in church, leading worship, leading prayer, giving a message. There's been people that God's touched you so many times in so many ways, and you were face planted on the altar in tears, crying out because you felt the very presence of God in the altar. And many people have felt the very presence of God once in their lifetime. Isn't that enough? Isn't that enough? You may think, isn't that enough? I would think that just God feeling His very presence just one time, just for 5 minutes, to be and dwell in the presence of God, that's enough to set my eyes on Christ for an entire lifetime. So you tell me, how is it possible that there are people that have experienced His power, that have experienced His presence, and you look at their life right now, but more importantly, God looks at their life right now. He's looking upon them, and He's in so much pain because of what He sees. They were once face planted on the altar throne, crying in tears because of what God has done for them. And now they're making their parents cry, and now they're making God so hurt. This generation has literally forgotten about God, and as time progresses, it's not going to get better, it's going to get worse. We are in times where ministers and preachers and pastors will quit their calling and just completely forget about where God has placed them. Do you know how serious this is? Listen to me. What are you doing with your life? What are you doing? Is that little bit of pleasure worth risking your salvation? Is that weekend to do whatever it is that you want and have fun and party and just break all the rules that God gave you? Is it worth it to lose your salvation and to end up in a place called hell and suffer for an eternity? Is it worth it? Is it worth it? You have a chance right now to change. Yes, I'm speaking to you. I'm speaking to you. God is speaking to you. You who were once so on fire for God that you will let nothing stand in your way, all of a sudden are doing things that don't please God. are looking at things that don't please God, are listening to things that don't please God. You once in your lifetime, God was everything. He was first in your life. He was your everything. He was your first love. And now you become so distracted by the things of this world. You become so entertained by what the devil has thrown at you that you've been placing these things before God, and before you know it, God just kept going down the list as you kept putting more stuff on top of God's place. What's gonna happen is, come Judgment Day, God is gonna be so down on your list that he's gonna not even bother to look at you. You may cry out to him, "I knew you, God. I believed in your word," and all he's gonna say is, "Depart from me." We take God off our list. God will remove our names out of the book of life. God is love, God is merciful, amen to that. But God is not someone you can play with. You want to take him out of your life? God's gonna take your name out of his book of life. Simple as that. And God is so sovereign. God is so holy. God must be your everything. God must be your number one favorite person. Don't be consumed by this world. There are things that you have to give up, and you know you have to give those things up, but you don't want to. There are things and there are people you have to let go, but you know in your heart that you don't want to. It's gonna cost you your soul. It's gonna cost you your soul. But at the end of the day, there's only one question: is it worth it? Ask yourself this. If you only got anything out of this video, ask yourself this: is what I am doing right now, whatever it is that you're doing, is what you're doing right now worth losing your salvation? Whatever it is, whatever's taking God's place, is it worth it? Many people leave the presence of God because it's too many rules, it's too strict, I can't have any fun, church is boring. Number one, who said you had to be in church to experience the presence of God? Number two, if only you understood the very love of God, you would understand why he has so many rules. And if only you knew the rules he placed, you would better understand and better be able to follow those rules, those commandments. I'm gonna tell you, let go of whoever you have to let go. Let go of whatever you have to let go. Let go. Let it go. It's not worth it. Because if you don't let it go, it's gonna haunt you for all eternity. You're just gonna be in hell for all eternity, and then it's gonna be too late to change your mind. So think about it. God is not someone to be played with. Are you going? Are you going? Are you going to change? God's waiting for you. God bless you.